welcome back to another episode of All Things Ghostly. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope your new year is going great so far. We are in the second week of the new year by the time you guys are watching or listening to this, so I hope your new year is going great. I can't say how mine is going because it's the first when I'm recording this, so I can't exactly tell you how mine is going thus far, but I will say that the first day is okay. I mean, I had plans that got canceled, so that was sad, but then I went to TJ Maxx and it was all good. So you might be wondering, what do I have in store for you today? Well, today, we're talking about some educational stuff when it comes to ghosts and hauntings, so I'm excited about this. I mentioned this, I believe, in like my first or second episode that I'd be interested in doing an episode like this, but it is gonna be some like research explanation type stuff on if there's a difference between a ghost and a spirit, because oftentimes I normally use the word ghost. I think I just like it better. I don't know. It's just what I've always kind of said to describe those types of entities. But I have heard the term spirit also used. So, is there a difference? I guess there is, because that's why there's a whole episode about it. So we are going to go into those differences today. And I found this article that not only says the differences between the two, but it also talks about the different types of ghosts and spirits. So this is going to be a really informative article. Hopefully, I didn't read the whole thing through, just because I like to have like authentic reactions to the stuff, but from what I have seen thus far, it seems pretty good. And it is by anthonyarms.com, and any articles will always be linked in the description box of wherever you're watching or listening. There is descriptions on Spotify and I think Apple Music as well. I could be wrong. I think there is. There probably is. Everywhere needs a description box. Duh. If you want to read any of these articles for yourself, they will always be linked so that you can enjoy them as well. So yes, let's get into this because I'm really interested to see, and then moving forward, obviously, I might be able to apply a little bit of this knowledge into my future episodes, and you will too in your own life when it comes to hauntings. I don't know why I'm being weird. It's literally 4 p.m. right now, and I'm like, I normally record a little bit earlier, and I'm like, can I do this right now? But I think so. I did not beat this face for nothing. No. Anyway, okay. So, the article is entitled Ghost versus Spirit, the Definitive Guide. Okay. The words ghosts and spirit are usually thought to have the same meaning. Majority of the time, they are generally used to describe all paranormal activity. However, they refer to two completely different things. Spirits and ghosts are in fact two entirely distinct beings. They not only look, but also feel significantly different from one another. Learning the main factors that determine the difference between spirits versus ghosts will aid you in figuring out what is actually lurking around your home, waking you up in the middle of the night, or breathing on your neck while you watch TV. Yeah, keep your dirty breath to yourself, thank you. Okay, so the difference between spirits and ghosts. The difference between spirits and ghosts are the way they manifest themselves and their motives for making contact. Spirits are beings that once lived a somewhat average life and aren't aware they are passing through the purgatory of the afterlife. Ghosts, on the other hand, may have experienced a more discomforting life and have a grudge or feel the need to linger around a place or object, seeking justification for their untimely passing. The way these two entities behave and communicate is the most important characteristic when attempting to distinguish the contrast between the two. Let's take a closer look at each one of them to fully understand what they are individually. So, a spirit is the soul of a person or animal which has not yet moved on to the other side. This person's or animal's physical body has died a reasonably normal death, however they remain in this world. The term spirits usually implies those who come from the other side of light. Spirits could be people you don't know, friends, pets, and or relatives that have stayed or come to visit with a specific purpose. This type of entity is not ready to move on and usually shows an urgency to remain in the realm of living. The only problem is that they lack the physical body to live in anymore. Through years of research and observations, it is believed that spirits have the ability to access other worlds and dimensions as freely as they please. That would be lit. It is also believed that they can move back and forth from those dimensions to that of the living at will. Unlike other entities, spirits are not restrained to the site or location of their death. After a person crosses over to the spiritual plane, they still maintain their personality, form, and identity, only without a physical body. The only true difference between the living and a spirit is the world that we both operate in, the living in the physical plane and a spirit in the spiritual plane. It's crazy to think that life could literally just go on as normal, except you're now a ghost. That is scary to me because some days life is a little hard. So I want to know that it's not the exact same afterward. Come on now. Where is the riches and the calmness and the Zen mode? That's what I want after life. Because you have to think if it's essentially the same thing, just in the spiritual plane rather than the physical one, are there still friendships beyond life? Are there still arguments? Are there still pets? If a cat has died and you see it on the side of the ghostly world, can you adopt it? I don't know. This is confusing to me. Are spirits good or evil? Spirits commonly have a positive connotation and essence to them. A spirit could have a powerful emotional connection to a person, usually a relative or a loved one. This can cause them to visit this individual frequently, which is why so many people express having the feeling of the presence of a loved one who has died. These encounters are most of the time accompanied by a positive and soothing feeling rather than a darker, intimidating one. Among other reasons, spirits may also come to protect, observe, and share their experience or knowledge with us, being the living. These beings are thought to come from a place of higher understanding and enlightenment. Communication with spirits is usually referenced to as a pleasant experience, peaceful and positive in nature. One of the many ways that a spirit may communicate with the living is through dreams, formerly called visitations. On many occasions, these visitations are dismissed as simply vivid dreams or wild imagination, yet it is often a way for a spirit to try and communicate with us and deliver a message. A spirit box is a great tool many people use to track spirits trying to make contact. Visitations are usually the most common way for a spirit to try and communicate with the living. While awake, we tend to be more easily distracted or prone to overlooking hints and signs that they may be sending us. That is very, very true. I've said this before. I feel like oftentimes in society we're taught to just question everything, oh, it was just our imagination, it's just me being a little crazy, and that's what makes kids and pets so susceptible to seeing spirits and ghosts, because they are not yet taught that. And animals, they only go off instinct, so they're not ever going to be taught that. But my mom has very, very vivid dreams. I do as well, but she has had many, many, many dreams that have my father in it since his passing, and even up until my birthday this year, which was in September, she had a dream about him. So that's very interesting to know. And if you didn't know, my second episode is all about my encounters with the passing of my dad. Crazy shit. He literally possessed me. I'm not lying. Anyway, so yeah, I wonder if that was a visitation, or if those are visitations that she still gets today. I wonder if there's a difference, because obviously you can just dream of somebody. So I wonder if there's a way to tell if it's a visitation or if it's just, you dreaming of this person rather than them coming to visit you in the dream, if that makes sense. Many of us tend to be busy on a daily basis and usually rushing around to go somewhere or do something. In a dream, we are often more willing to pay close attention to small details, not rush away somewhere else, and less affected by distractions. We tend to be more present in the moment and attentive to what is going on around us. Our conscious minds aren't active and won't quickly sweep away messages, which allows more time for understanding to happen in the dream state. All right, spirits in animal and object form. Spirits are also able to appear as different forms of animals. Butterflies and dragonflies are often believed to be the spirit of a lost relative or a loved one trying to communicate. It is also believed that spirits are associated with coins. Never heard that before. Either by communicating a specific date through the coin. Actually, okay, let me finish the sentence. Or hearing the sound of coins hitting a surface to announce their presence. Spirits might also try to communicate with the living using our sense of smell, taste, and touch. Anyway, what I was going to say about the coin, I was just listening to an episode of Morbid, and I think it was one of their listener tales. And this woman was saying how she always will find, or it was either her or somebody in her family that always has coins come out of nowhere. And I think it was her grandpa or her dad or somebody in her life that had died. And this person who always sees the coins was changing their baby's diaper and a coin fell out of the diaper, which I thought was crazy. And then I think it said something about how the date on the coin was the year he died, which is crazy, or the year he was born, something like that, which is absolutely wild. So I guess that's a very common standard thing for spirits to communicate with, which is crazy. But to be fair, coins are metal, so that's obviously used as a conductor. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I've heard that metal is easy for, certain things to manipulate, and obviously things that aren't in the physical plane, it might have something to do with it. I don't know. There is a wide variety of ways that a spirit might use to deliver a message or communicate with the living. In order to thoroughly perceive and understand those messages, we must have an open mind and soul to accepting what we are receiving. Very, very true. If we are constantly just oh no, I'm not saying what I'm saying, I must be misunderstanding. When you're trying to explain something to somebody and you can tell that they're obviously not getting it, but you keep trying to re-explain, you're going to eventually get tired and you're just going to not explain any further. And that's what spirits and ghosts are going to do as well. They're not going to keep trying to reach you if you keep shoving the idea of it off. It's just kind of counterproductive and a waste of time. Anyway, so these are the different types of spirits. Spirits are generally positive light beings who remain or visit the physical plane to protect or communicate with loved ones. Many people enjoy and intentionally seek contact with spirits. These individuals find fulfillment in surrounding themselves with this type of clean and pure positive light or energy. They feel they are kept safe from darker entities they might encounter. So the first type is called archangels. Archangels are believed to have the ability to take on human form. They tend to help larger groups of people and have a specific topic that they want to take care of. It is believed that they are beings that have never lived on Earth before. That's interesting. Guardian angels is the second type. Guardian angels are usually known for their wisdom and knowledge due to spending most of their time in the spiritual plane. They usually serve as protectors to people, providing spiritual guidance and support as well as warning of other dangerous entities. And the third type is called ascended masters. Ascended masters are very similar to archangels with the difference that they have lived on Earth at some point. They are believed to be spiritually enlightened beings who in past incarnations were ordinary humans but who have gone through numerous spiritual transformations, also known as initiations. It is believed that they have been rebirthed and now hold a higher and deeper knowledge, which they use to spread the light. Religious deities, I forget how it's pronounced, are believed to be a type of ascended masters. Cool. Oh, wait. There are more types. I thought there was only 3 types. Laughing my ass off. So the fourth type is called loved ones. Relatives or loved ones are notably one of the most common types of spirits. A relative who has passed away or even a cherished pet will often try to make contact with the subject in hopes of delivering a positive message or say their goodbyes. Gary Galka designed the Mel-8704R to make successful connections with his long-lost daughter. More about that here. I don't see more about that here. So I don't know what that is. So the next type is called spirit guides. Spirit guides are not what we typically would consider a spirit. They usually refer to humans who have special spiritual abilities and are more connected to the spiritual plane. Their form may vary, but they generally link to one particular person who they protect and guide. Spirit guides can also come in your typical form, who attach themselves to an individual in order to aid in their spiritual journey. I oftentimes hear the term spirit guide in like tarot readings. Like they will say, like, you know, as they're pulling cards, here's the messages from my spirit guide type of thing. So pretty cool. And then, what is a ghost? We're on to the ghostly stuff of it all. One could say ghosts are individuals who have undergone a sudden and tragic passing, expressing resentment on the physical plane. Unlike spirits, ghosts are individuals who have not undergone the tunnel of light experience. The state of mind is one of obscurity or lack of understanding as they struggle with present, past, or future fears. Ghosts are similar to psychotic human beings, incapable of reasoning for themselves. Spirits, on the other hand, are the surviving personalities of all of us who pass through the door of death in a relatively normal fashion. As Holzer, professor of psychology is what he is, a ghost is almost incapable of reasoning or using a logical mind. Ghosts are generally bound to the location of their death. They don't actually have to be stuck or bound to a specific location. Objects and even people can become haunted or possessed. With a deep enough connection, the ghost will make attempts to inhabit the person, place, or thing. See, that's so interesting because it's making it almost seem like ghosts are inherently like a negative thing, that they can't use logic. They're just out for like essentially like a revenge type of situation, which is interesting. Obviously, I don't know that this is like hardcore fact, or if this is kind of just like, because the world of paranormal is so unknown to us, I feel like. So I don't know how 100% factual and credible this information is, but I guess, I don't know. It's just making ghosts sound so bad, and I love me a good ghost. But maybe I'm thinking of spirits that I love, all things spiritual. All things spiritly. There you go. Anyway, I'm not changing my name. I still love the ghosties. Anyway, so why do ghosts exist? A ghost's death was usually unexpected, abrupt, tragic, or a murder. In most cases, they have not come to realize that they have actually died. That is very sad, causing further discomfort and more of an internal turmoil. Many experts in the field believe that ghosts have unfinished business in the physical world, which keeps them restrained to a particular site or location. Violent or abrupt deaths don't usually allow for the sufficient time needed to get their affairs sorted out before their passing, again creating somewhat of a restraint, not allowing them to move on or leave. One of the simplest forms of unfinished business can be as harmless as a person being so powerfully connected to their home that they refuse or are unable to move on, leaving it behind. These types of ghosts are usually referred to as caretakers, and they want to stay in order to continue taking care of the property. Caretakers might also feel as though any future owners of residents of the home must have or earn their approval to stay. I hear a lot about that in like haunted hotel situations, which is weird because obviously it's like maids or staff that was working at the hotel, but I've heard a lot of hotels have a spirit that will linger in the rooms, that like unpack your bags or clean up your mess or get pissed off if you don't fold the towels correctly or something like that. But obviously, why would they want to stay there? I feel like everybody has their own preferences, I guess. So it's very possible that those types of ghosts just loved their job a lot. But yeah, I would get it more with a home, because obviously that's your home. It's where you're comfortable. It's where you feel safe. It's what you've built in your life. But I've definitely heard a lot about that with haunted hotels. So interesting. However, unfinished business can also take a more sinister form when the individual's death was extremely violent and painful. These types of entities may, in fact, try to cause harm to the living. Regardless of the severity or reason for the unfinished business, a deep attachment to a physical or emotional aspect of our world is what keeps them from passing on. Ghosts are usually not out to harm you, but you just said they were, or they could be. Most believe ghosts communicate through sightings. Even though it may be their only actual ability, they sometimes show the potential to do more physically. Their powers or abilities are believed to vary depending on their strength. Some manifestations require more energy than others. This might be why some ghosts are only able to communicate in one particular way. There have been reports of ghosts demonstrating the ability to speak, create sounds, change the smell of a room, move objects, and even control the temperature. Since ghosts generally experience very tragic or violent deaths, they are usually consumed by dark and negative energy. This doesn't necessarily mean that they are always demonic or harmful, though. That negative aspect of them usually depends on what they were like when they were alive. Because obviously, why would you be a different person in death type of thing? If you were like a rude person living, you're probably going to be a rude ghost. Keep in mind, not every ghost has a tragic or painful death. Some might have just had a rough and troublesome life, which has left them with an overwhelming amount of negative emotions and dark feelings. This could even be the very reason they are unable to move on and find the light. So now we have the different types of ghosts. Ghosts are usually thought to be dangerous, although that isn't always the case. Their tragic and usually violent deaths do mean that they are generally associated with darkness, yet there is still a wide variety of them. So the first type is called ectoplasm. Ectoplasms, or ectomist, have been described as a supernatural thick substance that expels from the body of a medium during a spiritualistic session. Mediums, I laughed because it just makes me think of Ghostbusters. Anyway, mediums often create this material as a result of manifesting ghosts. They are thought to be either neutral colors like black, gray, or white, although they usually stay above one individual or place. It is believed that they can move around extremely fast, and ectoplasm will most likely be seen in historical cities, battlefields, or even graveyards. They are considered to be very old souls stuck in time and history. So does it literally look like goo, or is it like a ghost goo where it's just like floating around and it's not actually there and you see it and then it's gone? Or is there literal goo on the ground? Do you feel me? I don't know. Funnel ghosts, which is type number 2, are most commonly seen in historical buildings or homes. They are frequently associated with the drop in temperature, like a cold spot. They take the shape of a swirling funnel. Many paranormal experts believe that they are a loved one, relative, or former owner of the home coming back to visit, like a little ghost tornado. Due to their appearance and manifestation as a twist of light, they are often caught in photographs or on video, often recorded by ghost hunting camcorders. Third type is a poltergeist. Poltergeist is one of the most common terms used when referring to a ghost, most likely due to the world's popular usage in movies recently. The word poltergeist actually means noisy ghost. Interesting. Didn't know that. I always say interesting. I don't know why. This type of entity is believed to have the ability to move objects, change the physical environment, and make loud noises. Even though the terms are fairly common, a poltergeist is in fact one of the rarest types of sightings and hauntings. Despite them not being so common, these kinds of ghosts are referred to as one of the most terrifying types. Poltergeists are usually the more powerful types of ghosts, having the ability to break objects, throw things across the room, open drawers, turn lights off and on, create loud noises, or even start fires. Don't do that, please. Poltergeists tend to make their presence known in a very subtle but increasingly aggressive fashion. Once they spawn, their encounters will intensify gradually onto the impressionable guests. This entity will have mostly bad intentions and will usually not leave their own. They thrive on intense emotions like fear and distress, which are the types of ghosts that people always say, like, don't show them that you're afraid because they'll feed on it. So, I guess that's a poltergeist. Then we have orbs. Orbs are the type of ghost most photographed or recorded on video. They tend to appear as a transparent circle of blue or white light suspended in the background. Most people believe that an orb is the soul of a human or animal that has passed away. Orbs are known to move around from one place to another. Their circular shape makes it easier to take motion. It is often recognized as the first shape they take on before becoming more human-like. Then you have demons. Demons are not the type of entity that you want to interact with. Yeah, I would second that. I strongly suggest not making any attempts to contact or summon a demon. They are known for being extremely powerful and unpredictable. Demons possess the brawny ability to haunt homes, objects, and people. They can cause extreme physical and emotional harms to their victims. Demons will usually present themselves as dense black masses. They are also recognized as shapeshifters, having the ability to transform into different shapes. Interactive ghosts is our next type. They are the most common and often reported type to be around us. They tend to be a relative or someone we once knew. But they had to have died in a weird way, I guess. Like a bad way. I don't know. Anyway, this is still like, I get the difference, but it just feels very like pin hair thin type of thing. They might be trying to send a message, more than likely regarding something unfortunate. Interactive ghosts are thought to be some of the friendlier types of this entity. They usually have a connection to the person they are attempting to make contact with. They will generally make their presence known through a scent that is familiar to them. These types of ghosts are even capable of making noises and write out messages if vigorous enough. Okay, so there is a little in summary section of this article, but I did just want to read. So first of all, that interactive ghost is also called an intelligent haunting sometimes as well. So I guess those are kind of like interchangeable terms, but there's a couple more types of ghosts that I found on this other website called haunteddoc.com or hauntedoc.com or haunted doc. I don't know. Anyway, it'll be linked. So the first type is residual haunting. Residual haunting activity can occur when something traumatic, stressful occurs, such as a murder. Negative energy is literally blasted into the atmosphere, causing the atmosphere to imprint or record the events. Like a recording tape, it will play the events over and over again. The entities involved in this residual haunting activity are unaware of their surroundings. This is not an intelligent haunting. There is no interaction between you and the entity. Residual haunting activity can also be caused by positive energy blasted into the atmosphere. Many times you have heard ghost stories where people can hear the sounds of a party. They can hear music, singing, dancing, laughter, and when they enter the room where they hear the party, there is no one there. Residual haunting activity can be the specters of living beings. Very cool. I like that one. It's a little bit fun. Maybe not. I don't know. It could be evil. The non-evil stuff. And then we have shadow people or shadow creatures activity. This is a type of haunting activity that has no real explanation. They are different from ghosts. They are usually shapeless dark masses, which we just read as demons, I think. I could be wrong. Mostly seen with your peripheral vision. They are known to do things that are different from ghosts. They can move between walls. They have no human features. They wear no clothes except for the Hat Man, hooded figure shadow creatures. The Hat Man? So I guess they can wear hats. People who encounter them have a feeling of dread. Clairvoyants that encounter shadow people say they do not feel they are human and consider them non-human. Shadow people have no discernible mouth, noses, or facial expressions. Some are seen as child-sized dark humanoids. Some people say they seem to be made up of dark smoke or dark steam. At times, when they move, they appear to be moving on an invisible track from one place to another, such as a toy train on a small-scale railroad track. They have been seen to hop or what appears to be a strange dance. They are known to stare at the floor. What What are you looking at down there? Two common types of shadow people are the hat man that looks like he or she is wearing a 1930s fedora hat, and the hooded figure, which looks like the shadow person has a hood over their head. The hood and hat stand out as clothing, but otherwise they are not wearing any clothing at all. There are also reports of shadow animals, such as a shadow in the form of a cat with no discernible mouth, nose, or eyes. So I wonder if like the Dark Watchers would be considered shadow people, which I guess they would, because I think it literally described them as shadow people, but pish posh. And then the last type of haunting, so I guess we're more so on the type of hauntings rather than the types of ghosts, is called a portal hauntings. Portals aren't a really new concept, as we've seen them in a lot of sci-fi flicks, but in the real world, portal hauntings are considered controversial, as there is little known and the idea is mostly theory or speculation. Portals are thought to be doorways to another world or dimension in which entities travel through. It's speculated that portals are not limited to one location, religion, or limited to sacred ground. Typically, places that experience a wide array of different types of anomalous activity, such as glowing balls of light, odd creatures, strange shapes, or unexplained mists or fog, are suspected to have a portal in which these energies can travel back and forth. So I've definitely heard that like a common portal is like two mirrors across from each other. So very cool. And then we're just going to wrap this episode up with the first article and its little like in summary section. So it says, when it comes to the paranormal and the spiritual world, there is a lot that we still don't know and plenty of misconceptions. There is not one conclusive or precise handbook when it comes to this topic. Instead, there is a collection of research and experiences that help us better understand. If you believe you are in contact with a spirit or ghost, always consider starting a journal. Try to document as many details of the encounter as possible. The more detailed and thorough your documentation is, the more you are able to understand which type of entity you might be dealing with. Consider picking up tools like a spirit box or an EVP recorder to help collect data. So that is essentially all we have on the difference of spirits versus ghosts. So we learned hopefully a lot today. I learned that I still like ghosts, and nobody's going to convince me that they're only negative. There's a lot of hurt souls in the world, and we all pretty much go through a lot of shit in the real world. So a lot of us are like traumatized, and if that means that trauma is strong enough to the point where we can't like reach the light once we die, or we get held back from that unfinished business, I don't believe all of them are negative. But again, everything is interpreted differently. I've never been ghost hunting before. The only ghosts that I've encountered are my dad, which I guess would be a spirit, and then the few ghost spirits, whatever, that I had in my house, which I can't confirm that they died good or bad, in a good or bad way. So those I can't really confirm. Actually, I don't even know if my dad died in a good or bad way, but that's a story for another day. But regardless, I can't say for sure, but I can say that I wouldn't pin the term ghost as a negative term, at least in my personal vocabulary. But it's definitely interesting to know a little bit more of the theory on kind of what the differences are. So if you know for sure that they died in a peaceful way, I guess you can say that it is a spirit. But what if you can die in a peaceful way but then still not meet the light for something? Do you know what I mean? Like if you die peacefully in your sleep, but yet you had an argument 2 weeks ago that was unresolved, like does that mean unfinished business? And again, is it 100% sure that you can find this so-called light if you die in a peaceful way? Because what if you can't? You never know. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want, you can follow my Instagram, which is at allthingsghostly, or my TikTok, which is allthingsghostly podcast. I'm doing some stuff over there, little like, what is it called? Previews, if you will, of what the episodes are going to be for that week. So you can always check there if you want to know, instead of coming to the actual episode first. I don't know. And then I'm also doing Get Ready With Me's, and I'm going to try to do some other stuff on there. So definitely posting a good amount of content on there if you want to see some behind the scenes type stuff. And then Also, remember, if you guys have any stories to send in, spooky, paranormal type stuff that has happened to you, make sure to email your story in. It is allthingsghostlybusiness at gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, and maybe it'll end up in an episode if I get enough. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I say that like 5 times every episode, but I do hope you guys enjoyed. Anyway, I will see you in my next episode, and yeah, that's all I have to say for today. Goodbye.